All rise. Court is in session. You may be seated. Our first case of today is, am I wrong for not going home after giving birth because my husband missed it to help our friends? When you say missed it, does that mean missed the birth of your child? I, 32, just had our second baby a few days ago, and instead of going home, I asked to be discharged to my sisters. I don't know if that makes me an a-hole or overly emotional or whatever, which is why I am here. You have come to the right place, honey darling. Some background. My husband, 33, and I were teen parents. We had our daughter at 18 and 19. She's 14 now. It's been a long road, and we waited a very long time to feel ready to do it all over again. This baby was very much planned and wanted, but ever since I hit the third trimester, I have felt kind of alone in it. My husband started spending a lot of time with this couple we know. They're in a similar boat. They had their first as teens too, and just had their second recently. I get that it's a lot for them. Their oldest is 17 and they weren't planning on another, so he's been helping them out. But it went from a nice gesture to almost daily visits. Grocery runs, watching their newborn while they nap, fixing stuff around the house, bringing food over, and sometimes with our daughter tagging along, sometimes without even letting me know he was going. Meanwhile, I was trying to keep up with everything at home, going to appointments alone. Why? Dealing with the mess that is late pregnancy. I brought it up to him more than once, and every time he'd either say I was exaggerating or that he was there, just not the way I wanted him to be. He kept saying I was being territorial or weirdly competitive about them needing help, which made me question myself even more. I also started noticing changes in our daughter. She's an ice dancer and has an intense schedule, and after going with her dad to help at their house, she would come back totally spaced out, quiet, eating less. I figured she was just tired, but it started to feel off. She almost fell during practice one morning because she was so drained, and her coach made her sit out the rest of the week. That was a big wake-up call for me. I told my husband that enough was enough and we needed to talk, not just for me, but for her too. He apologized, said he would keep the visits shorter, only go when it was really needed. The visits were hardly shorter, but my daughter seemed less tired, and I could actually go to sleep with my husband some nights, so I counted it as a win. The bare minimum, going to sleep with my husband at night. When I went into labor, I called him from the car while my sister drove me to the hospital. No answer. Texted, nothing. Nada. Zip. He showed up about 4 hours after the baby was born with a slushie for me. Said he was sorry, but the other couple had a rough night and he didn't want to just leave them stranded. So you prefer to leave your wife in the hospital stranded on her own, pushing a human out of her hoo-ha so you could help this couple? It's not adding up. I didn't know what to say. I didn't want a big scene right there in the hospital, but when I could get discharged, I just had my sister take me home since my husband wasn't there. Now he's saying I'm being dramatic, that I'm punishing him for helping people who don't have the support we do. What? Is that what I smell? Manipulation? Do I smell narcissist? He told me I'm being cold and that I'm setting a bad example for our daughter by shutting him out. He's also implied more than once that I am trying to act like a victim when he was doing what any decent person would do. His mom called yesterday and said I should be ashamed of taking the baby away. I never said anything about keeping our son from him. I've told him he can come see the baby whenever he wants. I've been texting our daughter, keeping up with her, and I plan to be back home the moment I have recovered enough. I'm not trying to split up our family. I just needed a break, a quiet space to breathe and actually rest. I'm exhausted mentally and physically, but now I'm second guessing myself. Was it wrong to go somewhere else to recover? Should I have just gone home and tried to work it out there? I don't want this to turn into some drawn out fight or drama, especially not with a newborn in the picture. I don't even know if I'm thinking clearly at this point. Edit. Our baby is a boy. Congratulations. At this moment, we do have an update on this case, but I do not think you are wrong. I, Judge Moody, I am not a mother, so I cannot relate, but I can only imagine what that experience is like. And if you did what you needed to do for your physical and mental health, I don't think that's wrong. I think he's wrong. In this moment, I order that you are not wrong, but we have not concluded the case. An update. So, 2-ish days after posting, I took my daughter out of school for a few days. I had my sister bring her to her house so we could be in the same space and I could get a better read on how she's actually doing. I didn't want her to come all at once, so I let her rest and decompress a bit, gave her some room to just be a kid again, sleep in, eat actual food, breathe. Then one afternoon we were doing dishes and just chatting, and I gently asked what it's really been like at the other couple's place. I told her I wasn't mad, just that I wanted to understand. She paused for a while, then told me the truth. She has been kind of seeing their 17-year-old son. Not officially dating, but spending a lot of alone time together. She said she tried to remind her dad it was getting late, but the boy would pull her aside and they would end up hanging out longer. She didn't get into details, but it was pretty clear what she meant by the way she kept blushing and looking away from me. Her being tired all the time suddenly made a lot more sense. I also asked carefully if anything felt off about her dad lately, like he seemed out of it or off in some way or is acting strange during their visits. She said not really, but that she smelled weed once or twice, usually when they were finally about to leave, and he was usually really sweaty at the end of it. Why are we sweaty? She didn't seem too freaked out about it, but it made my stomach turn a bit. My mind is spiraling right now. But let's see if I'm correct. When my husband found out I had taken her out of school and brought her to my sister's, he lost it. He accused me of trying to turn her against him and called it parental interference. Like, okay. I told him I just wanted her to rest and have some space. He wasn't hearing it. A few hours later, his mom called me yelling, saying that I was trying to steal the baby, isolate our daughter, ruin the family, etc. She left this long voicemail about how I needed to bring his children home where they belong. I haven't responded. I haven't told him what our daughter shared yet. I'm still trying to figure out how to bring it up and how to press him for more details about why he himself gets up during those visits, other than what I figured from what my daughter said. So yeah, that's where things stand. Messy, exhausting, but a little clearer than before. I stand by what I said. I conclude that you are not wrong in this case. Our next case, would I be wrong for asking my former substitute teacher out on a date? Oh, this is a little PG rated for anyone who's sitting in the jury underage. This might be spicy. I need to know the ages though before this is incredibly illegal. Throwaway and a little backstory to start. When I, 22 male, okay, was in my senior year of high, 17-18, I had this substitute teacher. She was then 22, we will call her Alice, who would fill in sometimes. I had a massive crush on her, and during my last 2 months of high school, I kissed her after class one day. Hold on. During my last 2 months of high school, I kissed her after class one day. She immediately told me off and told me to get the F out. Way nicer than that, but you get the gist. I didn't see her much after that and graduated a little later. A few months ago, I was the best man at my older brother's wedding. And it turns out his wife, my now sister-in-law, is close friends with Alice, and they attended college together. At the wedding, we met again, and later in the night, I apologized to her for my actions back in high school. She laughed me off and told me not to worry, as I was just a dumb hormonal teenager who probably didn't realize the full extent of what I had done. She did accept my apology, by the way. We spent the end of the night catching up, and that was that. A few days ago, I ran into her at the grocery store. We got to talking again and exchanged numbers. I should note here in the case, she is now 28 years old and he is 22 at this point in the story. Since then, I've been trying to work up the courage to ask her out on an actual date now that we're both adults. But when I spoke to my best friend about it, she told me not to do it as it would be really effing weird for me to date my old sub. Her words. And now I'm conflicted. Should I take the chance and ask her out romantically, or should I let it go and keep my distance? Please, I need advice. You're 22, she's 28. There's a gap. It's legal, but there's a gap. You're not wrong. I don't have much confidence on this case, to be honest. This case is inconclusive. It is unconcluded. I will allow the jury to decide this one, and that means you in the comment section, because I have mixed feelings. I don't think it's wrong to ask on the date. She could say no. That's where I'm feeling, but inconclusive. Joss told me this funny story that I want to share with you on this note. One time there was a substitute teacher. She was this very beautiful woman, and she was teaching us in our geography class one day, and all the boys in our high school class were like drooling over her, and she had a nice body, and she was writing on the chalkboard, so obviously her backside was facing the class, and everyone was talking and snickering, and she was like, "Is there something wrong?" And one of the boys in my class was like, looked her up and down and was like, "Absolutely not." I'll never forget it. And by I mean Joss. Joss will never forget it. My boyfriend wants me to do all of the housework even though we both work full time and I am in school, but he is not. Let me talk to your boyfriend. Posting this so I can show my boyfriend the comments. Risky game. I don't really think I am wrong, but maybe I am. My boyfriend is pretty traditional, but not in a sexist kind of way. He was raised by a single mom with the help of the women in his family. Sexism is not the issue here. We have a beautiful relationship, but when we argue, this is normally what it is about. He does help me with the house sometimes, but if I ever ask him to do more or I fall behind on some stuff, we revert back to this same argument. We got together almost 5 years ago, 19 female and 20 male. He told me that if I ever wanted to quit my job, he would take care of money and I would take care of the house. Fair, I hate working, so this would be a dream for me. For a while, I worked part-time jobs and took care of most of the housework. I wound up getting promoted and have worked full-time for about 2 years now. We also have more expenses now, so quitting my job isn't an option. He has a management position with a railroad company, while I am a sole store manager of a department store. I am also currently in school, almost done with my bachelor's. When we started the arrangement, it made sense because we both worked more and made more money. Now, he still works more, but rather than 25 to 35 hours, which is me, and 40 to 60 hours, which is him, the comparison is 40 to 45 hours me and still 40 to 60 hours him. He also still makes more. We have about a $20,000 to $30,000 per year gap. I am also in college part-time, so I take 2 classes per semester and 1 to 2 in the summer when I can. When it comes to finances, he pays all of our bills, totaling somewhere around 1.5 to 2K per month, while I pay for our animals $200 to $400 per month. We have a lot, and a storage unit that we share, $110. I also buy most of our food, which is $300 per month, and put what I can to the side so we can have a nice cushion if we need it. You're paying over $800, and he's paying $1.5 to $2,000. We go round and round because he thinks that since he pays all the bills, he has a more physically taxing job and works 12-hour shifts. I work 8-hour shifts. This means that I should take care of all the housework. I don't believe this is fair. Yes, he pays all of the utilities and rent, but my contribution of the storage unit, food, and animal care still counts as paying bills and contributing. When it comes to school, he dismisses this in arguments because I take online classes and, quote, I see the amount of time you spend on school. It isn't much. When I argue that we both work full-time, that doesn't matter either because my job is easy and he works more than I do, makes more money, has longer shifts, and his job is more demanding. These things are true of his position, but my job is not easy. It is also very demanding, and I have employees who answer to me. They call me at all hours of the day and night. I run a department store by myself with no other management. What I'm not understanding is why are we in competition? Why is the back and forth like, well, I'm doing this and I'm working harder in my hours and we're a partnership. We are a team. What's going on here? Although I don't think his comparison is fair, I do believe that I should pull more weight than him around the house, especially because of the nature of his job, though I don't think I should have to do it all. He also says that I don't contribute financially, but I do, just not when it comes to the actual utilities and bills. It seems that he's not very appreciative of the money you are contributing. I'm not sure how to explain to him that what he wants isn't fair. We both work full-time and I also go to school. Why should I do all the housework just because you are the breadwinner and pay most of the bills? It just doesn't make sense to me. Am I wrong? Edit. I would also like to add, I do not keep up with the housework at all. Things just become a wreck. We eat a lot of fast food, etc. So it actually isn't even currently happening as he wants it. I just want him to understand my side. I think we could do better with keeping things clean if he would help more. Why not combine all the bills and split it right down the middle and split the house chores? We have an open conversation. I need a little more from you. I need, share our needs and our wants and agree and compromise and sacrifice. I don't think you're wrong for how you're feeling. We have an update. I wound up having an open and honest conversation with my boyfriend a few weeks after this post about all of this, as well as some other struggles that I've been having in our relationship. I came at it from the angle of how I feel emotionally, that I am lacking a partnership, and I feel that he doesn't care. It was received extremely well. Okay. He doesn't talk about emotions often. He took a day or two to think, and then he came back to me to basically explain that work has been making him really stressed, and it threw him into a deep depression. It was easier for him to deflect and argue and put housework on me than address what was wrong with him. He had realized how deep he was in it, how awful the stuff he was saying was, nor how much it affected me until I told him how severe this stuff was weighing on me. He hadn't really been shown love before I came into his life, and he was pushing me away when he should have been letting me in and leaning on me emotionally. Since that convo, our relationship has done a 180. I feel like I got a partner back. He understands that we need to work together. It cannot all fall on me, and he doesn't want it to. Our relationship is much stronger than it has been in months. It's been a few months now since this change, and day by day I see him putting more effort into us, my gavel, and into our lives. Work still takes a lot out of him, but he is a different person and partner now. Just wanted to give the positive update that many didn't anticipate. And by many, I'm guilty. Conversation happened, baby. We made resolution. You don't even need the court. Jury, it's been solved. Case dismissed. My sister-in-law tried to create issues between my brother and I. Am I wrong to not trust her? My sister-in-law and I have a cordial but strained relationship. She has said offensive things about me, my parents, siblings, and other family members. I've told my brother that I didn't like some of the things she has said about me in the past, and my brother brushed it off. My parents have taken offense to some of the things she has said. I would never bring it up when she is around, but I have kept my distance and maintained civility. For example, she spent last Thanksgiving with my family. We had a lot of extended relatives there. She came over with my brother. I greeted her, but I had to run around the house and help with the table setup, food, etc. You're a host. We get it. I maybe spent 5 minutes with her before running off to complete other tasks. She didn't engage with our other family members and sat in the living room. My youngest brother and his girlfriend came over, and we were catching up since I hadn't seen them in a while. We were minding our business. A couple of months after Thanksgiving, my brother's fiancée called up my mom to complain that I was spending time with my youngest brother and I didn't include her. She talked about how my parents raised their children. My parents and I were offended by what she said. My mom had me sit down with my now sister-in-law to address the issue. That sounds like a nightmare. My sister-in-law started talking to me about how she felt that she was not included in my youngest brother's and I's conversation. She also stated that she assumed that I hang out with my youngest brother's girlfriend all the time. That was my first time meeting my younger brother's girlfriend. I told her my younger brother and I's relationship should not concern her, and she shouldn't make assumptions about people you don't know. Words to live by. After that conversation, I kept my distance from her. If she is at family events, I will be cordial and talk to her about surface level things, but I don't disclose my personal business with her. My mom wants to be a peacemaker now and is trying to force me to have a close relationship with her. She wants me to go to lunch with her and hang out with her more. I don't feel like I could trust someone who can manufacture issues like that. If she is willing to manufacture issues, what else can she do? For the sake of my brother, I have kept my mouth shut, but I don't see us ever being close. Am I overreacting? Only you know the real answer to that, but based upon her comments upon you and towards your parents and how they raise their children, I wouldn't quite want to be around someone like that and give them my time and energy of getting to know them, especially because you have mentioned that you already have a strained relationship with this girl. You're an adult. I think you can make a decision on whether you want a close relationship. I think, yeah, you be cordial, respectful, but you don't need to be best friends. No BFF here. Am I wrong for canceling a date? An old date of mine wanted to talk. We dated a bit last year, but called it off then. Now we had agreed that she would come over tomorrow, but I had missed my appointment. I text her, hey, I see that we agreed to meet at 3:15 p.m., but I have an appointment at 2 p.m., and I don't know how long that will take. Do you mind rescheduling if necessary? She wants to talk about the hows and whys that we broke it off then. And somewhere she hopes for a better chance, and so do I, because mentally we were both in a different place then. a worse place. I had just gotten out of a pretty unhealthy relationship, and she also had bad experiences with exes and dates. I get back that she thinks that's fine. 1 hour later, she texts, but question, why can't we meet after your appointment? So I say that this is also possible, but that it might be a bit short and that it would be a waste of time for her to travel. She sends, oh, yeah, well, I already made other plans, but was mainly curious why you didn't initially say that you could come after that. So I say, you could obviously come after that, but it didn't really occur to me because, again, you have a long journey and I don't know exactly when I will be ready. And I think it's a shame that you travel an hour for maybe half an hour to actually sit here and talk. Then it was again, yeah, well, you could have indicated it better maybe. And now I really think, never mind. This woman is really sweet, but the reason it didn't work out completely before was because everything became a problem, a point, a discussion. For example, if I said, I ate 1,700 calories today, she said, yes, but why not 1,600? Then you'll lose weight even faster. And if I responded that it was always, you don't have to justify yourself, I was just wondering, I don't want to start a discussion. Everything turned into a discussion. Recently, she spoke to me about how I hadn't lost weight in a few months' time, but when I told her she was standing still as well, she told me that it was different. What would you do with this and interpret this as? I understand that it might be a bit frustrating for her, but on the other hand, making plans with someone else after 1 hour and then being angry with me is a bit exaggerated. I definitely wanted to give her another chance because she is a nice woman and really suits me, but when I have these kinds of conversations with her, again, and it becomes a discussion without a real solid reason, I think, oh yeah. So this is why I didn't like her that much. I can understand making a discussion out of something that is in need of a discussion, but this wasn't in need of a discussion and could have just been resolved with 3 to 4 texts. Am I wrong for canceling the date we should have had today because I had no clue how long it would take me? And am I wrong in thinking she might actually not be that interesting after she made plans and tried to pull on me when I gave her an explanation? I don't think you're wrong for sending her a text message to reschedule based upon your timeline and the appointment and whatnot. However, you could have let her decide by saying, I can meet you after the appointment, but I can't guarantee when I'll be done and I would hate for you to travel a long way. I was really excited for this date. I feel like there could have been better communication, but you're not wrong for trying to reschedule the date, in my opinion. Case closed. And on that note, court is officially adjourned, but leave your final statements in the comment section.